On January 19th, in the year 2000, two students pulled what they thought was a prank and lit fire to a bulletin board in Boland Hall, a freshman residence hall at Seton Hall University in South Orange, New Jersey. The fire quickly spread and 3 students died. Many more were injured. The 2 students who started the fire were sentenced to 5 years imprisonment in 2007.
What's the location of your emergency?
On the night of January 19th, a fire alarm went off, and it was 4:30 in the morning, and just like any other night, just kind of said, you know what, let me get out of here. Honestly, I would say it took us maybe anywhere between 7 to 10 minutes to get dressed. We had to put on our sweater and our coat, and he said, it's cold out there, and we fully got dressed. And when I opened the door, just a cloud of black, thick smoke just rushed in on me, and I hurried up and shut the door, and I said to Al, this is the real thing. Nothing on me had caught on fire. I just know that, I felt the intense heat from the fire. And as I got outside, it just, the pain started to get immense, and I realized that my hands were just like really, really, it was like literally they were burning. They were still burning underneath my skin. Al was crawling the same path that I was crawling. When he got to the lounge, one of the ceiling tiles caught on fire and fell on his back, and it burned him. Alvaro was burned from his head to his torso.
Here are 5 critical steps to surviving a fire. Step 1. Always know at least 2 ways out of a building. Step 2. Keep all exits clear, limit storage, and do not block sprinkler heads. Step 3. Always evacuate when you hear the sound of an alarm. Step 4. Use stairwells, not the elevators. Stay low to the ground where air is less toxic. Use the second exit if the primary exit is blocked with fire or smoke. Step 5. Once you are out of the building, report to your staging area. Notify a community assistant, a police officer, or a firefighter, letting them know if your friends and roommates are missing.
Burns are one of the toughest things to ever deal with. It's one of those things where, you're going to be physically distorted for the rest of your life. And not only, it's physical, but it's mental. It's one of those things where, you're not the same person anymore. My hands will never look the way they looked prior. And it's something that, it's just unbelievable to have to deal with, the therapy to do the simple things. Like I had to learn how to write my name all over again. I had to learn how to, button my shirt. Just those little things that you take for granted. It was all because of a prank gone awry. It was all because of, 2 boys who decided that, they wanted to, light a banner on fire. And this banner ended up catching, the whole lounge on fire. 3 of my classmates died, 58 of us were injured. It changed so many people's lives that it's just unbelievable to this day.
From January 2000 to December 2010, there have been 105 fatalities resulting from campus fires. In the 2009 through 2010 academic year, 11 students lost their lives in campus fires. The majority of campus fires are caused by cooking, smoking, and using candles, all which could have been prevented.
The biggest thing to me is that they, 3 parents lost their children, and they'll never be able to get them back. Fortunately, me and Alvaro, even though we are, we have, these scars, we still have our lives.
Something like this is something to be taken seriously, and it's just a rude awakening.
After this, it definitely, it'll be in the back of my head, this could happen, so I would definitely get out.
I hope that it really impacts the students in a really positive way to take these things very seriously.
Over the past 4 years, 85 fatal fires have been documented on college campuses, claiming a total of 122 victims. Of those fires, 14 were intentionally set, like the fire at Seton Hall. 38 were accidental. This is the most common cause of fire on college campuses, most notably due to cooking. And 33 of the fires had a cause that was never determined. The most common time that fires start is between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m., likely because that's when many students are carelessly cooking. How do national statistics compare to the fires we've experienced at NYU? Let's take a look based on clearer reporting from the last few years. We've had numerous residence hall fires this year, all of which could have been prevented. The most common cause is cooking.
But there's a side to you that I never knew all the things you say they were never true in the games you play, you would always win, but I set fire to the rain, watch it pour as I touch your face, when it burned, will I cry, 'cause I heard it screaming out your name.
Okay, what we're going to see today, we have two identical dormitory rooms that the students painted last night and decorated this morning. We're going to start a fire in each one of those. The one to my right, or to your right, is non-sprinkled. There's a smoke alarm that's in that room, and we're going to start a fire in a small basket from the back of the prop, and it'll show you how fast that fire spreads. And it's going to show you how important it is to react to the initial smoke alarm. What we see in the fire service is people become complacent because they think just automatically it's a false alarm. You don't have a lot of time to react, and it's important that you react as soon as you can to that initial fire alarm. The second prop that you're going to see is sprinkled. And once that fire ignites, the temperature in the room is going to increase, and that's why you see the plastic in the front of it. We're trying to keep the heat in there. The temperature will become between 135 and 165 degrees, and the sprinkler head should go off if everything goes right with our demonstration. Three important messages before we get going. Working smoke alarms in every level of your home. You should have a fire escape plan and practice your fire drills on a regular basis, especially with your children. And installation of fire sprinklers at home is very important. Home fire grows very, very rapidly, and it takes the fire department to respond from when we get to the call about 9 to 12 minutes to get to your residence between setup time and response time. So it's very critical that you have those safety pieces in place so your family is safe. Okay, we started the fire. Now watch the clock. Now it's a basket. It could be a careless disposal of smoky materials. Now you're starting to see flames. We're 10 seconds in. Now listen for the smoke alarm. Okay, the smoke alarm's gone off just about 18 seconds. Now again, what we're trying to do is get that room to flash over totally. The heat is going to build up. You're probably at 300 degrees at the ceiling right now. You have to get as low as you can to the floor to escape this fire. We were hoping that that was going to stay on a little longer. Again, we're less than a minute in now. So take a look at that amount of fire in less than 1 minute. You don't have a lot of time to react. You have to react when you hear that smoke alarm. You have to get out of your house as soon as you can. The fire is progressing. I think you can start to feel the heat right now. The room is pretty much unsurvivable right now. We're only 1 minute and 15 seconds in. And now you almost have complete flashover at this point. Everything in the room is going to ignite. We're at 1 minute 30. Sprinklers give families extra time to get out of their homes. Remember that message. That's an important message today. You see that every once in a while the firefighters do a little shake. In the bottom of this bottle, if the firefighter stays still for too long, there's an alarm that goes off. It's called the pass alarm that saves our firefighters. All right, we have ignition on the second. We have the smoke detector already activated. Fire is traveling rapidly up the rear. There are no accelerants in there. That's just all normal stuff. And we have sprinkler activation at 15 seconds. Again, that was just one sprinkler head. The temperature got above 135 degrees to activate that.
It's not surprising that a trend of many fires is that alcohol or other drugs are involved. In more than 50% of adult fire fatalities, victims were under the influence at the time of the fire. And on college campuses, cooking is the leading cause of fire injuries, followed by careless smoking and arson.
When we talk about the flammability of furniture, there's a number of issues involved. Furniture nowadays has a fabric over the top, and then underneath that fabric is a padding. In today's furniture, that is a foam, primarily polyurethane foam. It's a very good material, it's inexpensive, it has very good durability characteristics. Unfortunately, it burns very well, it ignites easily, and it has an awful lot of energy stored within it. And so the foam is one of the primary problems within furniture. We take that foam, the padding, and we cover it with a fabric. And that fabric can be anywhere from a synthetic material, meaning its origins are from oil, where it's made of things like polyester and polypropylene, or it could be a natural fiber. Typically, the natural fibers, the cotton and wool, have better fire resistance. That's because when they burn, they leave behind a charred material, just like wood. And that charred layer helps to shield the foam underneath, and so it reduces or slows down the burning. With a synthetic material, they typically melt and burn themselves, burn very well often. And so when you ignite them, they quickly melt out of the way, the foam becomes involved, as does the fabric, and it can burn very, very quickly. Typically it's on a wooden frame, but by the time that wood gets involved, most of the foam is gone. When you burn a piece of furniture, once you get rid of the foam and the fabric, you're left behind with this almost charred wooden skeleton that stays there and burns for a much longer period of time, but it's much slower in its burning.
So what is your role when it comes to fire safety? Education and policy enforcement. Make sure your residents know all prohibited items and behaviors, such as no candles or incense, no heaters, no outside furniture, which includes all upholstered items, as in items with cushions, and no item in which the total dimensions exceed 80 inches, which is width plus height plus depth. No hanging anything from sprinkler heads, because that could set off the sprinklers and cause much damage. No tampering with any fire safety equipment, such as extinguishers or alarms. No using the elevator when the alarm sounds. RAs also conduct fire safety inspections, which you'll learn more about from your supervisor and will likely occur just before Thanksgiving. And RAs will staff scheduled fire drills. Buildings have 2 in the fall, 1 in the spring, and 1 in the summer, so residents know the proper protocol for evacuating the building in case of fire. So what's your role when the alarm sounds and it is not a drill? You need to exit the building. Knock on all doors along your path of egress to alert other residents to exit. Meet the rest of your staff in a pre-designated location, which will likely be your hall's resource center. Assist with directing residents away from the building entrance to allow for FDNY access. Residents cannot stand in the lobby or directly outside the building because it would interfere with fire safety personnel entering the building. If no pro staff is present, the RA on duty will take the lead role and communicate with public safety, FDNY, and the RHD on duty regarding the nature of the fire and the alarm. Once the building is determined safe for re-entry by FDNY and public safety, assist in directing residents back into the building in an orderly manner. The RA on duty will submit an incident report about the nature of the fire or the false alarm by 9 a.m. the next morning. Remember, don't be a hero. Ricka, Ricka! Don't be a hero. Never put yourself in harm's way. Again, your role is not to be a firefighter, but it is important to know how to use a fire extinguisher to clear the way for evacuation if both exits are blocked. We'll go over this on the next slide. Also, public safety will have a list of students with disabilities who may require assistance to evacuate. They'll share this with FDNY. If you have a resident with a temporary disability, like a broken leg, report it to your RHD immediately so the resident can be added to this list. Again, only use the fire extinguisher to clear a path for exit. So if both exits are blocked, you should know how to use a fire extinguisher. There are 4 easy steps to remember to use a fire extinguisher. First, pull the pin out of the trigger. Second, aim the fire extinguisher at the source of the fire. Third, squeeze the lever to release the contents of the extinguisher. 4, sweep the fire extinguisher along the base of the fire. This leads to an easy acronym, PASS. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jill Childers, Fire Safety Coordinator for the Vacaville Fire Department, and today I wanted to show you how to use a fire extinguisher. A simple way to remember how to do this is to remember the word PASS. P stands for pulling the pin, A stands for aiming at the base of the fire, S stands for squeezing, and the other S stands for sweeping back and forth. For more information on how to properly use a fire extinguisher, please feel free to give me a call at 449-5482. Thank you and have a nice day.
We hope you enjoyed the fire safety presentation. Now it's time for a quiz. Find the fire safety quiz under tests and quizzes in this class and score at least an 80%. Thanks for keeping our halls safe.